Afternoon. This is Dottie Lofstrom, the Chair of the Civil Service Commission. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, and it is 2:30 p.m. I call this meeting to order.
Thank you, Dottie. We'll start with roll call. Commissioner Lofstrom,
Here.
Commissioner Rulapon,
Here.
and Commissioner Butler.
Present.
And going straight into public comment, I have none, unless there is someone in the room that would like to address with public comment. No public comment.
Thank you. We have two sets of meeting minutes to approve. I recommend we approve them as a set. So if you have any comments, please make them at this time. Otherwise, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, I can make a move to approve the minutes last year, February 11th, 2026 meeting. And the February 23rd, 2026 special meeting as well.
Thank you.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And no opposed. We have a report of disciplinary action in your packet. Give me a moment to flip through mine as well. Okay, you've all had a chance to see it? You got there yet? Okay, I'll accept a motion to accept the report of disciplinary action.
I make a motion to accept the disciplinary action report.
Thank you. A second.
I can second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And that has passed as well. Let us move forward now to what we have scheduled is that we were going to reschedule our meeting of May 13th to May 18th, but that is actually not going to take place. So make a note of that. No action is required for that. But if we move forward to the agenda, we are not having a May 18th meeting. That's right. Actually, we're not having a May meeting. You are correct. And that is not on your agenda, so yes, make a note.
So if I may,
Please.
Chair, just want to provide to the commission some information that I appreciate very much your willingness to look for alternate dates in May. We did find that we will not have content to present, so at this point, we would just recommend we go ahead and we'll cancel that meeting due to no content.
Thank you, Ms. Goodman. However, we do have another addition to the agenda that is not on yours, and this is to schedule a Rule 18 hearing date. And the preferred date of the district attorney's office is June 10th, 2026. Is that our regularly scheduled next Wednesday meeting?
It is
June?
our regular June meeting.
Okay, so to hold that on our regular June meeting, is that something that you all will be able to make?
June 10th, I should be okay.
Okay. In that case, I will accept a motion to schedule the Rule 18 hearing date on June 10th, 2026. So someone needs to so move.
I move for the Rule 18 motion on June 10th, 2026.
I can second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And there's no opposed, and I need my agenda back. Thanks. This was a last-minute thing, so that changed. Okay, well, that moves us into our classification portion, and we are ready to start hearing about that.
Okay, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sylvia Aparicio, and I will be presenting Classification Project 2512. The request before you is for the Commission to adopt the recommendation to amend and retitle the Hazardous Materials Specialist Series to compliance and materials specialist. Public Works submitted a request to Human Resources to establish a classification to complete field inspection and compliance duties in support of ongoing efforts to meet increased enforcement of legislative mandates affecting commercial solid waste. As standard practice, Human Resources reviewed existing county classifications to determine if an existing class could meet the requested need. HR did collaborate with Public Works and Environmental Health to find that the Hazardous Materials Specialist series shared the same characteristics, level, and nature of work as the Public Works position. Hazardous Materials Specialists are responsible for performing inspections in the field and understanding state and federal laws pertaining to the proper methods of responding to hazardous material spills. Similarly, the Public Works position will perform field work to include business audits and review of business plans while focusing on compliance enforcement pertaining to solid waste. Both assignments exist to serve a purpose related to environmental health and/or protection interests. Considering the similarities, application of a classification concept where instead of describing the class by listing a collection of duties that may be relevant to all assignment types, it is broken into those that are shared or common in nature, and then what duties may look like in each known. Yes, corresponding to that, the qualifications required at entry into the class are specified by assignment as well. In this case, there are multiple reasons for this specific approach. One, to prevent disruption to the current use of the class, one position in environmental health, and then also to ensure ongoing equity with the position assignments that share the same classification factors. And also, if needed, it allows for concurrent yet specific targeted recruitment that is compliant within the county's civil service selection standards. Therefore, primary amendments to the series include, of course, retitling to add reference to the core purpose of both assignments, which is compliance, and then now also organizing the duties based on general or known assignments. The phrase "based on assignment" is utilized throughout the series to note the nature of the work assigned. The minimum qualifications were also amended to include those of the regulatory compliance assignment, and then physical and mental requirements were added considering the nature of the work, as well as they were not previously included in the series. The draft class specifications for the series were shared with SCIU on February 24th, with additional follow-up on March 4th, and no objections received prior to this meeting. And then we do also have Public Works Deputy Director of Operations, David Tolliver, available virtually if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question right off for you. We have the org chart for Public Works Department. There isn't one for environmental health. Is environmental health now incorporated into Public Works?
No, it's not. So it's completely different. They will still be their own, so environmental health will still have their allocation, and Public Works will now have theirs.
Okay, you just included the one chart.
Because that's what's changing.
Oh, the environmental health one was already called the Compliance and Materials Specialist?
No, but that's the only thing that'll change for environmental health is the title.
Okay.
The allocation will still exist, and the placement within the organization or division will still stay.
Oh, I see.
So that's not changing.
Okay.
So I only included for Public Works because they will now have the position.
Okay, I followed that, thank you. Do either of the commissioners have a question? Okay, I have a comment which does not pertain to whether or not, well, it does kind of pertain to this change in this duty statement. The first comment, with Mr. Tolliver, thank you for being here. We always appreciate it when you take time to come out to the commission. The first one I had was a comment that I think this was a really good move, rather than having the duplicating positions, and this makes a lot of sense to me. The second one is, because of my background, which is in this subject, I know that at Cosumnes College, they have a program in environmental technology, and it's a 43-unit program. And I wanted to let you know, I think it's too late to propose that you add that in the duty statement, but I thought it would be helpful for you to know nonetheless, and also that it would be a good source for recruitment. Were you aware of that, Mr. Tolliver?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I was not aware of that. Sitting right behind you is Miss Julie D'Ambroso, our Management Analyst 3. And I'd like you to share the information with her. Certainly, we're always looking for avenues for recruitment. And if there's resources out there in the community, we want to take advantage of those. Apology is that I'm not able to make it in person, but I'm here to answer any questions, and of course our staff are present, Julie and Marissa Davidson, to answer any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I heard no other questions from the commission, so at this point, I'm ready to entertain a motion to amend and retitle the class spec for hazardous material specialists.
I'll make a motion for the classification project 25-012, Public Works, to amend and retitle the classification specification for hazardous material specialist 1 and 2. To the complaints and material specialist 1 and 2.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And that has passed. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we can move on to our next one.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Molly Boonslot, presenting Classification Project 2511. San Joaquin County Health Centers requested that Human Resources consider creating a medical assistant series to relieve clerical administrators and licensed medical professionals from the day-to-day administrative duties and provide experienced medical assistants with an opportunity for growth. Human Resources reviewed the number of medical assistants to direct supervisors and determined that a lead level would benefit by reducing the ratio. The medical assistant specialist classification may be a lead worker, training lower-level staff, and/or assigned to assist in specialized outpatient surgical procedures. This classification will require a minimum of 3 years of experience as a medical assistant, completion of a medical assistant training program, and depending upon assignment, may require additional certifications and training. Additional amendments made to the existing medical assistant classification specifications are to remove redundant special requirement language and to specify additional training and certifications. In addition to the amendments for the medical assistant in your packets, Human Resources would also like to request an additional amendments to the medical assistant classifications. If you look in typical duty number 1, we propose that it reads may prepare and maintain patient information rather than the current prepares and maintains patient information.
Which sentence?
Typical duty number 1.
Yeah, like third sentence?
First sentence, very first. So instead of, currently reads prepares and maintains patient information, we would propose, yeah.
Oh, I'm in the specialist, thank you.
Oh, sorry, for
Thank you,
the
Ms. Butler.
existing
That's the
medical
problem.
assistant.
Okay,
So we would propose it to read may prepare and maintain patient information.
okay, thank you.
Human Resources provided the initial draft classification specifications to Service Employees International Union on January 27th. After discussion and feedback, HR noticed SEIU with the updated drafts on April 1st, and the union had no further questions. From San Joaquin County Health Centers, we have Director of Strategic Projects and Business Intelligence, Ahad Youssef. And from the San Joaquin General Hospital Specialty Clinics, we have the Nursing Department Manager, Betty Jo Rendell, available remotely should you have any questions of the department.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the commission? Okay, I have a couple. On the medical assistant specialist, so there's things here that are not done as a medical assistant, and specifically things like perform necessary injections, vaccines, some of these other things that the medical assistant doesn't do. So, but to qualify for this position, after being a medical assistant for 3 years, then you are qualified for it. But, so my question is, where is the training coming from to know how to give these vaccines and injections and things?
Under, I believe these will be for specific assignments. Under the special requirements, there are, it's kind of listed there under California Vaccines Children by the California Department of Public Health, and/or limited phlebotomy technician certificates. So this wouldn't be a case for every single medical assistant, but it's based on assignment. So we tried to keep the typical duties not being all-inclusive, but things of assignments, specifically, I believe, at the specialty clinics. Betty Jo, if you want to chime in, I believe they do have someone there that actually does provide the injections. They're, I forget what the term is, but they're the designated vaccine coordinator type person for one of the medical assistants currently doing it there.
And that is correct. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Bally. Our medical assistants that work in specific areas where vaccines are administered go through training and testing, and they also get trained specifically to do point-of-care blood testing, and they get well trained before they perform any of these duties that do fall within the scope of practice for what a medical assistant can do in our healthcare setting.
Thank you. That was exactly the question I was asking, so I appreciate that. I have it's just a typo. I always hesitate to bring those forward, and yet I always do. On the medical assistant specialist, page 2, the very top line, it says may participates instead of, that's just an extra S you need to take off. I think after these meetings, you all go back in the room, and if I didn't make a typo, you go, yay, right?
Well, I try to going line by line, but we still get those, thank you.
And then the last thing I have is, so I started off reading the specialist, and then I went to the assistants. We had the red line for that. When it comes to the physical, mental requirements, I'm going to recommend that the use of the word constant is changed to frequent. And the reason is, when you read through, so I'm currently on medical assistant specialist, page 2, but it's the same on the other one. It's just like, it's describing this impossible job where you're constantly reading and you're constantly holding and you're constantly grasping and reaching and being exposed to trauma and grief with constant public contact. And I actually started kind of giggling, imagining what a really horrific job this was. So it sounds trivial, but I think if you just changed all those constants to frequents, I would like that, but it's certainly not going to hold up our approval of the duty statement.
I think that that is a reasonable assessment of what the medical assistants do, that it is a variance between actual physicality of the performance of duties intertwined with computer and desk work. So constant does give a bit of a different bill to an 8-hour shift of what they would be doing.
Okay, so you're okay if we amend that, if we approve it as amended?
I would have absolutely no problem with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience with me as well. If there's no other comments or concerns, we can move forward with the motion.
So if before the motion is made, if we could just make sure that the motion includes, we've really talked about 3 different amendments. The one that Molly mentioned, which I just want to note was the result of a request from SEIU, a late request. So that was in the duty statement, number 1, where we were inserting the word may. The other was the physical duties constant to frequent, and the last one was the typo in the medical assistant specialist. So if the motion can include those 3 amendments as presented to the commission.
I appreciate your listing those. I think that was helpful.
I will make a motion to approve classification project 25011 to adopt with the recommendations of the adding may to the typical duties of the medical assistant on number 1, may prepare. Also changing consistent to frequent, and then the typo on the specialist.
Good job listing all those. Is there a second?
Okay. I can second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the motion is passed. Thank you very much. So next on our agenda is the commission overview. Do we want to continue with that? We're probably prepared. Yeah, okay. So we'll have Nicole come back.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Nicole DeVincenzi. I am one of the managers in Human Resources for the Employment Services Unit. So the unit that kind of works with the departments on all of the recruiting, a certain degree of guiding them on personnel actions. And I am here to present to you your latest and greatest Civil Service Rule overview for Civil Service Rule 4. Yes, I can. Is there like a... Oh, you're gonna click for me? Okay, you can go ahead. And again. Thank you. Okay, so Civil Service Rule 4. Sorry, am I still not laughing? I promise I've done this before. Okay, Civil Service Rule 4 is about employment standards. And the employment standards, sorry, if we can go 2 more slides. Thanks. The employment standards cover 9 different sections. So the 2 sections that I've highlighted are the ones that directly relate to the commission that you have some authority over. So we'll look at those first, but these are all 9 sections here listed out for you. So starting with sections 2 and 3, these both relate to health and physical ability of our workforce. So this rule really talks about, this rule talks about the commission being the authority to identify the physical and mental requirements of a classification, right? So we kind of just talked about that when you were reviewing our most recent proposed classification. And then another component of that is us designating classifications as arduous. So this is really about any pre-employment requirements that may be associated with the health and physical ability of the incoming employees or the current employees. And what this does is we have an approved list of classifications. There's 107 of them. And those classifications designated as arduous go through a pre-employment physical. So the pre-employment physical is tied to a number of factors, but what we do is we look at the job-related reasons. We have vendors that have physicians, and those physicians conduct the examination, prepare a report, provide it back to us. If everything looks good, we go ahead and move forward with the hire. If there's any issues or anything we need to look at, we may engage with the department just to review them and ensure that they can safely and effectively perform the essential functions of their job. If not, we'll engage in our required interactive process to then make an assessment of their ability to do so. And then I just put a brief sampling of some of the 107 classifications. And those are, for example, the animal care specialists, correctional officers, crafts workers, equipment service workers, physical therapists, staff nurses, stock clerks, right? So jobs that have some level of physical demand associated with them. Those will be our arduous physical classifications. Any questions about those sections? All right. So next up, we have section 1, which is the filing of applications. So this rule does state that all applications must be submitted must be submitted on or before the advertised final filing date. So we do allow applications to be submitted online. We do still have some paper applications that we allow to be submitted. We have tried to transition if a job is very specifically tied to a ability to use a computer. We may say you must submit your application online. You should have that sort of basic skill to be able to do so, but there are many occasions where we do allow paper applications as well. Okay, the next one is sections 4 and 5, which talk about selective qualifications and selective certifications. So as you've seen, as you review the classification specifications, there are very specific minimum qualifications for each class. There may be times where a department needs a specific subset of those minimum qualifications. And they will request to the Director of Human Resources that we conduct either a selective recruitment for a subset of those candidates or do a selective certification from an existing list where we did the general recruitment with the regular minimum qualifications. We'll see this sometimes. Some of the most common ones are like a bilingual, right? So it's not a minimum qualification unless it's an interpreter class. But if we have office assistants and a department is looking to have bilingual Spanish-speaking office assistants, they'll submit a request. We'll review it, prepare a memo recommendation to the Director of Human Resources, who will then approve it. And then we'll be able to either conduct the recruitment or test the folks who are on the existing list for the bilingual abilities and provide those names to the department. Okay. I got ahead of myself. Yeah, so the common examples include the bilingual one that I just mentioned, and then we also have like healthcare billing, right? So we use office assistant specialist classification pretty generally throughout the county for various functions, but we also use them in our healthcare facilities as billers. So we may look for selective criteria where their clerical experience is in a healthcare setting doing billing, right? Okay. Next up is section 6, and this talks about investigations and fingerprints. So there are certain positions or unrepresented classifications that are subject to live scan fingerprinting. And anytime we're going to be doing any sort of investigation or fingerprints for a candidate or potentially an employee, it is listed in the recruitment announcement so that they're aware that that'll be happening. It's also included as part of their conditional job offer. When we do a background investigation and we review the report in Human Resources, we do have documentation from the department that kind of outlines what this job is going to be doing. So if something comes back on a background, we're going to be looking to see, does that have a nexus to the job they're going to be performing? If no, they're clear to proceed. If yes, we have a legally required process that we engage in with the candidate to potentially get more information and then make an ultimate decision. If they fail the process, they are removed from the eligible list in which they were offered the position. And we do have some disqualification periods for any other positions as well that they would have to serve. All right, so the next sections are 7 and 8, which does talk about the disqualification periods. There's also the ability to remove individuals from an eligible list for various reasons. And this authority is given to the Director of Human Resources. There's 13 reasons listed in the rule. The most common ones that we see are obviously somebody not meeting the minimum qualifications for the position, failing one of those pre-employment processes, they've made a false statement on their application that comes to light obviously after we've accepted it, potentially referred them for a position, and they've had previous dismissal from the civil service for cause. So those are reasons that we may remove somebody from an eligible list that they've been placed on. Disqualified applicants are notified why they've been disqualified, and if there's a specific time period related to that disqualification, they're provided that information as well. If the disqualification is for lacking the required minimum qualifications, they are provided the opportunity to give us additional information that may clarify their experience, or maybe they didn't add in that one job that really ties into what we're looking for to qualify them for this position. They're given the opportunity to provide that to us. And then lastly, we have residence and citizenship, which is a very straightforward rule. If you're eligible, legally eligible to work in the United States, you can apply for a job with us. And that is all of Civil Service Rule 4. Any questions? All right.
I don't, but that was really useful and pertinent. I thank you for that, for spending the time doing that.
No problem, my pleasure.
Okay. And with that, we will adjourn to closed session. So I will ask everyone not participating in the closed session to please leave at this time. This is the Civil Service Commission reporting back from closed session. And what we have to report is that we have unanimously agreed to deny the request for appeal for your case. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.